Perfect. It's recording.
Okay, so we've got a ton of questions here on the subject of skincare and topical care for acne, maybe acne prone skin, but also just in general to maybe reduce our the aging process. Obviously we can't turn back the years, but we can definitely have an impact of how well our skin ages and how well it is kind of exposed to the elements of the weather, the UV rays. We can make it more resilient so that it doesn't experience things like breakouts, acne, dry patches, hyperpigmentation, all of the stuff that we all want to avoid.
I actually really like your summary. I think you I really have a deep understanding of it.
It's all from you. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. That's really nice to hear.
So yeah, I've got a ton of questions. A lot of them are skincare focused. Some of them are hormone and other subjects. I'm going to ignore them and just focus on the skincare aspect. The first one would be about hormone friendly hand cream and lip moisturizer. Are there any that you recommend?
Okay, so both can be, or like I like shea butter for these things because it's totally non-toxic. It's a totally natural product that if you eat it, like you can actually eat it. Like you can find it in some processed food,
Yeah.
like shea butter. So this is a really, really nice occlusive, and the job of occlusives is to slow down the evaporation of water because it is water in our skin, in our lips, in our hands that make it moisturized, and then the oils are there to lock in that moisture. So something like shea butter is going to be amazing for the hands. So it doesn't have to be pure shea butter, but like a product that has a base in maybe like shea butter or some other kind of really nourishing butter. And for the lips, lanolin is really, really nice because it's also like really effective occlusive. And for the skin, it's quite comedogenic. So I wouldn't, smear it all over the face. So it's usually used maybe for like babies' creams, because they have really need, like this strong occlusives to protect their delicate skin. And for the lips, I've actually recently seen, I don't know which brand it was, but it was a lanolin like lip balm. I think the only ingredient was lanolin. So this is like really, really nice, especially in the winter time. I always have, my shea butter, use it for any kind of rough patches on my body. If I have like for hands, lips, on my son, like everybody's like,
Yeah.
it was a really, really great product. And yeah, like I think a lot of there are different brands in different countries that you can, source. So it's pretty
Yeah.
universal. Mm.
And I've got a few questions. So first, what are your thoughts on coconut oil for either maybe not a facial moisturizer because it can be quite pore clogging, but what about coconut oil for like removing makeup or using as like a moisturizer on your lips or maybe the rest of your body?
When it comes to the body, I often find that people, if they have acne prone skin on their face, like the body is totally like robust and fine without
Yeah.
acne. And the skin on the body is a bit different, and also because it's covered, it's not so exposed to all these harsh influences from our environment. So a lot of the times coconut oil on the body can work great without giving you any breakouts or anything. So if you tend to break out like on your back or like chest or something, like I would not use coconut oil. But if your skin is dry, coconut oil can be really, really great moisturizer for the body. And sometimes I tend to use it myself, even like I don't like this. The smell is really nice, sometimes like it's a bit too strong, so I don't often use it like a body moisturizer. Sometimes I would maybe mix it with some other things, like I will scoop up a bit and then like just mix it in my hand with some almond oils just so that the scent is not so overpowering. But yes, coconut oil can be comedogenic for a lot of people. So test out if it works on the body. If yes, great, because it's really actually very moisturizing. So in that way it can really work nicely. I've actually talked about recently about MCT oil, which is we extract certain components, medium chain triglycerides from the actual extra virgin coconut oil. And this is mostly kind of like concentrated caprylic fatty acids, and these should not be comedogenic. So in that way, MCT oil, or there is a product from coconut oil, is like, it's probably not going to be comedogenic to use on the face. And since I talked about it, actually, a few people have responded back and said that it worked so well with the oil cleansing that like no other oil can ever compare. Like it works so well. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah, so this is something like an alternative for people who have pretty acne prone skin on the face and want to do oil cleansing, but their skin is dry, because a lot of the oils that are actually good for acne prone skin, such as rosehip, hemp oil, grapeseed, these are actually drying oils. A lot of
Mm.
people realize this. So these are oils that are suitable for oily to maybe combination skin, and then after a while it may even become too drying for those skin types. So in that case, you know, you would use jojoba oil, but like maybe something more moisturizing is often needed for actual like dry skin types. So MCT oil can be a nice choice here.
Yeah.
So
I'll
definitely.
definitely have to try that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
coconut does not work well.
I
Yeah.
was inspired by this as well. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna try it as well. You can buy like a pretty big
Yeah.
bottle for good
Yeah.
money. So because a lot of the other oils are pretty expensive. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So
And you can use it in your kitchen, you can use it in
exactly,
your smoothies, and you can use it in your skincare, which is
exactly.
always
So
good.
it's multi-purpose, exactly. And then that
Yes.
way you go through one bottle pretty quickly. Like it's not gonna be opened, you know, for months and months.
Mm.
It's when it's
Because
some
it's the same with food, isn't it? You don't want to be using oils that have been sat in the shelf for months and months. You really want them to be as fresh as possible.
exactly. High quality is really important when it comes to oils, because yeah, they are extracted from their environment and they can oxidize in the process. And so like always, you know, we need to be careful to buy cold pressed ones, and yeah, choose, you know, from a reputable
Hmm.
manufacturer. But yeah, this is always, you know, since the second you open it, it's exposed, right, to the light, to the oxidative damage, to, you know, temperature. And so it's yeah,
Yeah.
definitely should be kind of like going through it quickly. So yeah, MCT can be a good idea there.
Cool. And a few more questions on lip care. So a lot of people struggle with really dry, chapped lips.
Hmm.
Are there anything that you've seen being a contributing factor to that, or are there any other products that you find really helpful, especially around the mouth and chin area? So either like perioral dermatitis or just really chapped lips. Are there any kind of triggers in terms of ingredients? Are there any causes that you're aware of?
Hmm. So when it comes to the chapped lips, I mean, the lips don't have these sebaceous glands like the, you know, our skin has on our face. So a lot of the people just naturally struggle with dry lips. I think of course the environment will have an effect on this
Yeah.
as well. So in the wintertime, when the air is really dry, it sucks out the moisture from our skin much faster than when there is, you know, proper humidity in the air.
Yeah.
So you will, you know, people who are kind of prone to dry lips, this is going to be really a struggle like the entire time to keep the lips moisturized. So when there is like kind of this flaky layer of, you know, shedding off the lips, I find it actually helpful to apply a thin layer of either manuka or raw honey on the lips and just
Mm.
leave it like that overnight, because this will very gently exfoliate and kind of soften off the lips. And it's gonna, the honey is humectant, so it's gonna try to draw the moisture to the surface layer so that we alleviate this dryness. And in the morning, then you can just, you know, kind of remove this maybe with a wet towel or something, like really gently pat off to remove these excess dead skin cells. And then immediately you apply on some shea butter or some lanolin. They are also, I think it's become quite popular in the recent maybe months or years with these lip masks that people swear by. I think this kind of natural approach you can try first and see if that works before moving to any kind of other treatments. Yeah, for me, this really worked in the past. I also noticed that a lot of the conventional lip balms that we buy at the store, I don't know if you ever noticed this, like you get addicted to it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And
Like
I,
the Vaseline, people are
yes,
like every hour using it
yeah,
obsessively.
yeah. And then when you just stop, your lips are fine.
Yeah.
And so like I always really try to only moisturize my lips when I really need it, and like the less I do it, the less I really need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely find this, and I actually my mom recently, I finally convinced her to stop just smearing on like this, Vaseline based lip balms all the time. And then now she doesn't even like struggle with dry lips. Like it's just sometimes we need to kind of let our skin rebalance itself a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely know a lot about these like lip balm addictions. Like I used to be totally like this in the past. I could not live without lip balm, and now like I don't even if I'm applying like some kind of shea butter on my face, I'll just go over the lips sometimes. Most time that. When it comes to maybe other kind of causes of this, I'm not really sure when it comes to the lips, but when it comes to just dry skin, obviously our diet plays such a huge role. So eating enough of the high quality fats, protein, omega-3s, like these things really need to be present to moisturize our skin from the inside. So these fats, will surround the cells, like make the membrane, and like just it's really funny because when I first started to come in Norway, because I was kind of back and forth, and then I would always eat a lot of fatty fish here. I would come back home, and my father, who never notices anything, would be like, Sarah, like you look like so glowing, and it's so like your skin is like this. And it's really true. Like you can definitely moisturize like your skin so much from the inside when you really supply. So yeah. Another thing that can really help if you're at home or at workplace, and I swear by it, is to use a cold water humidifier, because sometimes when the air is super dry, no matter how much moisturizer or all these skincare products we use, the air is still gonna suck out that moisture. So we need to kind of bring back the moisture in the air as well to slow down this process of evaporation of water from our skin, because obviously the bigger difference there is between the water content in your skin and the air, the faster the water is just gonna escape the skin.
Yeah.
And this is also true for the lips. Yes, exactly. So this is why a lot of people struggle with such dry skin in the wintertime, even though maybe it gets normal or oily in the summertime. So yeah, this is definitely something that that can really help, like having boost of moisture in the air as well.
Because I've always wondered about that. People using humidifiers, or people who notice that the skin gets better when they're in maybe like warmer climates. I was never sure like the kind of reasons for that, but are you saying like when the cold dry air is like around us, it kind of sucks the moisture out of our skin? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes. So naturally the water molecules will move from the place when there is an abundance of them to the place where there's very few of them, right?
Okay.
So this is what happens when there are so few water molecules in the air around you. And like because the truth is, the water will evaporate from the skin all the time, but when the air is also saturated with water, you're gonna like be able to get back some of these water molecules. But when it's really dry, when there are no enough water molecules, then the water molecules that evaporate, they will just gonna stay there.
Okay.
So this is when it's similar to osmosis, so like you need to so definitely the dry air and like this drying out of the skin can affect so many of the processes in the skin that can cause people to experience a range of skin conditions. So that's why maybe people who move somewhere where it's like maybe more humid, or also vitamin D and sun has a big impact on the skin. So a lot of times I would see that people who move to like sunny places, if they have been lacking like vitamin D or other benefits from just being in the sun, their skin just improves pretty quickly. So yeah, definitely where we live has a lot to say as well, not to mention other factors like quality of water and so on. Yeah.
Are there any issues that people living in the humid climates kind of struggle with? Do they get too oily skin, or too many breakouts or something?
This can also happen. So your skin can get oily when it's like really hot and humid, can get oilier, and then you are then more prone to breakouts.
Okay.
But what can also happen is that people are more prone to fungal acne in very humid climates,
Yeah.
because the fungi really likes this like warm and moist environment.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's like really warm and humid and like you're sweating, like this is more favorable for growth of fungi than bacteria probably. So they kind of overgrow and can cause fungal acne, which a lot of the times is mistaken for real acne. And you cannot really use the same products, it's just going to make it worse. So yeah, this can definitely be like a contributing factor in fungal acne. So it's going
Yeah.
to look more like a rash
Okay.
than like separate acne spots, and they usually
Yeah.
would be just like maybe like here, or
Yeah.
in these patches. Yeah, so this can definitely happen, unfortunately.
And is that sometimes driven by internal fungus and yeast, or is it sometimes just a topical thing?
Definitely both. So the internal is definitely a driver, because if you have
Yeah.
taken your course of antibiotics, you also kill the bacteria, not just in your gut, but probably, I mean, also in your skin. That's why people get prescribed antibiotics for acne, to kill the acne bacteria. But the problem is, when you kill acne, you give more room for fungi to grow, because they are normally in the balance on our skin. So this is when we create favorable environment for fungi overgrowth. And especially if we also eat inflammatory diet in addition, if like the air is humid, if like other things that irritate your skin, you're disrupting your skin barrier, you're so like all these things can come together to result like in fungal acne. So yeah, definitely internal factors. I think always kind of in the background, always setting the stage. Whether it's acne, whether it's fungal acne, whether it's perioral dermatitis, whether it's rosacea, eczema, everything. It's kind of always, yeah.
And in terms of the humid, not the humid, the dry air and losing moisture from our skin, would that be someone who's doing a lot of dry saunas? So if they're doing a lot of rather than steam rooms, they're doing saunas with that dry heat. Could that be causing a lot of loss of moisture from the skin?
Absolutely, absolutely. If the air is really dry and like the temperature is high, obviously we will sweat.
Yeah.
So that's like additional way to lose water from our body.
Yeah.
Because the water in our skin mainly comes, of course, from within the body. So it's kind of pulled from the deeper layers of our skin to the surface. So the water we drink will, also find its way to our skin. So yeah, this can definitely dehydrate the skin. Absolutely, yeah.
Would you tell people to limit the sauna use, or do you find that the maybe steam rooms are a bit more better, or infrared saunas? Have you got any kind
Infrared
of
saunas
benefits?
or maybe
Yeah.
steam rooms would be better, I think, in that regard.
Okay. Cool. So one question I had, it's not on the list, but what's the difference between a humectant and an occlusive?
That's a good one. So humectant will actually attract water molecules. So it's almost like a little sponge that absorbs the water around itself and is like holding on to this water. It's really like a tiny sponge on like a molecular scale. Whereas occlusive will form like something like a barrier that's gonna lock in this moisture. So the occlusive is normally does not mix with water, so it's gonna repel the water, and this is why it's so effective at like locking it into the skin. So occlusives are things like oils and butters. So when you apply lots of moisture, some of it, it gets absorbed through the skin, and like lots of it can stay in the surface layer of your skin, and the more of these water molecules will stay in the surface layer of your skin if you also have humectant, because these are large molecules that are not going to penetrate into the skin like hyaluronic acid. So they're not going to penetrate very deep in the skin. They're going to penetrate, through like maybe different layers of these dead skin cells. And when they're there, they're going to hold also water to themselves.
Okay.
So this is gonna act kind of plumping for the skin immediately, and then when you apply occlusive on top, this is gonna prevent, or not prevent, but like slow down the loss of water.
Okay.
switch evaporation in the air. So this is why we always want to use them together, and why people will, let's say, you have been using hyaluronic acid serum and you heard that it's so hydrating, and if you use it on its own, you're gonna be, oh my god, like I don't feel my skin's moisturized at all. And this is because you just lose the water pretty quickly when there is not an occlusive to lock it in.
Okay. So hyaluronic acid and things like manuka honey, they'd be humectants.
Yes, yes, yes.
And things like oils and shea butter are occlusives.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. I'm just making some notes here. And a few more questions. Someone's asking, is it true that when people say your skin becomes used to certain products and you need to switch things up every maybe couple of months? Is that true?
I don't really know what to say because it's such a general, it's very broad. So I would say there are skincare ingredients that are proven to work, like retinol or vitamin C, and the longer we use them, the better our skin will become. So like if we find a product that works for us, there is really no need to ever change it. Like you can use the retinol that works for you for 50 years to come. Your skin is gonna always benefit from it. But when people say like I like to switch things up because my skin gets used to it, I mean different products contain different ingredients, so sometimes like you will see this instant boost if your skin is kind of suddenly met with a new ingredient that maybe smoothens out its fine lines, or like this kind of, because different products will have different consistency and how they absorb into your skin and like all these different things. So usually you will notice how the product leaves your skin, and then it's probably different than maybe the product you were using before. But I would say that it's not really necessary to change up your routine so much if you're using products that contain proven ingredients, that ingredients that's gonna work for many years to come. So I would say like it's actually more problematic to often switch up your skincare routine. Like if you find something that works and there are again powerful skincare ingredients that work for your skin in formulations that work for your skin, you can use it for like probably another 10 years without even thinking about switching up. So as we get older, our skincare needs to change somewhat to accommodate certain changes in the skin. So our skin's natural exfoliation process will slow down. This the stratum corneum, this uppermost layer of the skin, will thicken. So like the layers of that skin cells, there are going to be more of them. So we need to kind of thin it out for the skin to appear, youthful and moisturized. So let's say people, if you're in your 20s, you're not going to require as much exfoliation as when you are in your 40s. But again, you can be using exactly the same products. They are good, only like at a different frequency, or as you get older, you might introduce products that have a bit higher concentration of these active ingredients. But this constant stress of like, oh my god, my skin is going to get used to these products and now I need to switch it up, I don't think there is so much benefit to it. Like our skin actually likes predictability, my experience, and like people I work with. So people always ask me, oh, what else can I add into my skincare routine, Sarah? And I'm like, is this it? Now just keep it for at least another,
just leave it alone.
just leave it for at least another month or so. Again, in my experience, I see that a lot of the people I'm working with, when they start to simplify their routine, there's like, oh, my skin is getting better. Like it's totally does not make any sense. I'm like, it makes sense.
I know. I definitely experienced that too. And I agree that our body likes consistency. It likes having a regular pattern. It doesn't like being swapped and changed around too much. And that's the same with diet as well. And like meal times, it really likes a structure. You're having meal at this time, you're using this skincare, like get used to this. And I think it's just too stressful, not just for your skin health, but just for you, kind of, is this working? Is this causing this? If something's working, then why change it? Exactly. In my opinion.
exactly. And it just causes more stress, and it
Yeah.
causes to fixate so much on the
Yeah.
skin. And this often actually leads to more skin problems because we
Yeah.
enter this loop. Why am I having this pimple now? And like, why, like,
Mhm.
you just let it be. Like, if you probably, you're not gonna even, register it's there. But when we start, and oftentimes people do experience breakouts from new skincare products. So yeah, we just, I think, can avoid so much stress if we keep more or less consistent routine. You can always maybe try out one new product, but switching up like the entire skincare routine overnight is something I never really recommend. I always recommend
Mhm.
gradually going into the direction you need to go, especially when you've been using ingredients that your skin gets used to. For example, exfoliation. So you cannot be exfoliating every day and then suddenly, not at all. Like your skin's
Yeah.
probably gonna clog up. So yeah, things like this, like we need to kind of be mindful of where we are currently in the skincare routine before switching it up.
Mm. And like with your online course as well, it teaches you kind of step by step on how to move away from the conventional skincare products and acne treatments, because you can't just go from using all these chemicals every single day, maybe 3 times a day, to using coconut oil, maybe manuka honey. It's not going to work, is it?
No, it's not gonna work, and it's something a lot of people do. And yeah, I think this is one of the reasons I actually created this eliminate phase, because in my mind at the beginning it was maybe like this more balanced and rich phase, but then I realized like we really need to cut out these things very gradually. As you said, like you cannot go from using benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, and other things like
Yeah.
twice a day to move to oil cleansing, and then people will tell
Yeah.
me, oh, like, oil cleansing is not working. It's not that oil cleansing is not working. It's an incredible jump, right? So
Yeah.
it can work if you're
Cool.
lucky, but for a lot of people it's too big of a jump.
So I've got another question here on your thoughts on Botox and fillers, kind of these non-surgical facial procedures, whether it's for aesthetic reasons or people use them for things like sweating, don't they? And what are your thoughts on that? Are they harmful, or have you got any kind of opinion on those things?
To be honest, I don't really have any opinion on it. I think it's something also very individual. Today, this is something much safer, I mean, than it used to be. But
Mm,
again, you really need to trust the person who is administering this. So I would say there is a big difference between a trusted professional who is really professional in his field, has decades of experience, and knows people's faces. Um, and like you really have did your background on the person who's gonna do the treatment. I would be comfortable, and especially if you are kind of insecure about a certain feature on your face, like I don't think it's worth spending so much energy if maybe there is an easy fix to it.
yeah.
Again, this can this in its if your insecurity is rooted somewhere else, it may not be able to fix your insecurity. But like if it's really this that makes you kind of like self-aware and like this, so of course, like it might really be then helpful for you.
Hmm.
I mean, if I had like a really deep wrinkle on my forehead and like the rest of my face was fine, I would probably be
Yeah.
thinking about this myself and just like be over with it, right? Like
Yeah.
so I can totally understand people who decide to do this. Ideally, of course, it will be if it's for the reasons that are, let's say, right, so that you're not
Mm.
trying to, if you expect kind of realistically, I don't know how to say, but like if okay, it's gonna fix this physical thing, not like
Yeah.
why you're insecure or like why you are, yeah.
Yeah. You're
But
doing it for yourself, not for someone else.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you feel this is something that you would like to do, whether it's fillers in your lips, in your face, whether it's Botox,
Mm.
whatever it is, it's definitely something individual. It's something up to you. So I really don't have any opinion on it, to be
Hmm.
honest. Like I'm not gonna tell you, oh my God, never do this.
Hmm.
Because again, people really are different, and so yeah, like I don't really have any other advice than really background check on
Mm-hmm.
the clinic and like the profession that's gonna administer this. I think this is something super important and something that I would spend probably, you know, months researching before actually going to.
Yeah. Another question here. What will help my rashy skin? My face is so red and uncomfortable. So I think we mentioned the fungal aspect of things. Is there anything else that can just cause a rash of the face?
I mean, if you have a bad reaction to a certain product, and again, the more I work with people, the more I realize to how many different ingredients people can actually have a reaction to. And what we sometimes forget in natural skincare, so the natural products like manuka honey, like oils like aloe vera, all these things contain actually thousands of substances in it. It's not just one, right? So it's not, you know, isolated one single substance.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of them can be irritating, or they can cause reactions. So for some people, even, you know, fresh aloe vera gel can like cause a rash because like your skin just is reacting to something. So I think it's really important to eliminate any skincare products that you suspect might be causing the rash. If your cleanser, I would first always, you know, look at the cleanser, because so many of them are simply too harsh. So if your skin is kind of dry and uncomfortable after cleansing, definitely find a better cleanser. Yeah, whenever introducing a new skincare product, just make a patch test. If you feel something bad is kind of happening, yeah, stop the product. This can happen with so many different ingredients. Products with essential oils, not everybody can tolerate. Essential oils are pretty powerful, although they can be really, really helpful and effective, but they can also be irritating. So some people cannot tolerate them at all in their skincare. So if you've been using, you know, let's say oils, products with essential oils, all these kinds of things, try pausing them and see if the rash improves. Again, there are lots of other substances that can cause this kind of reaction. But yeah, also if I mean, it's hard to say because rash can be really anything, like maybe like rosacea or psoriasis, or like, so it's really, yeah, hard to kind of give specific advice. And I'm not expert on this kind of medical side when it comes to like these skin conditions. So yeah,
Is there anything that can be added on topically to kind of cool things down and calm down the rash, just while they're figuring out what maybe the cause is? Or would you just let the skin, like, leave it alone and just let it rebalance naturally?
If the skin is not super dry, I would maybe leave it and see if that helps. Like, especially if you haven't been using a lot of skincare so far, you can just let your skin be and cleanse with either nothing or something super gentle. Again, I would really like to see the skincare routine of the person asking, because a lot of the times I can actually identify the offenders if the problem is in skincare, if it's not something internal.
Okay.
So yeah, what to apply, it really depends. I mean, people, when it comes to rash, it's really hard to say, because you can, if I say some kind of nice occlusive, some people are sensitive to it.
I know.
So it's, yeah, it's really hard to say.
Yeah, cool. So just leave it alone and kind of try and figure out the triggers and avoid them. Yeah, okay. Someone's asking, I get breakouts from removing hair on my chin due to PCOS. Any tips to avoid this?
Is it with waxing or like?
I'm guessing, or probably waxing or plucking chin hairs that cause either clogged pores or breakouts.
Because I find that when you pull the root of the hair out, the breakouts are almost impossible to avoid, because the hair needs to kind of regrow, and then it, you know, misses the exit or whatever. But it's like so often leads to breakouts. And I remember doing this a few times when I was much younger, and I would always have breakouts like around here from this, like nothing. Like if you exfoliate after whatever they tell you to do, I could never regulate these breakouts. So like I just stopped anything. Like when it comes to, I think maybe plucking is better than waxing for some reason, at least for me. But maybe other solution of hair removal like dermaplaning can be better in this case, because it's actually shaving instead of plucking the hair with the root out. So this can be good if you don't have like, you know, painful acne spots to go over, but your skin is mostly clear. I think the dermaplaning can be nice to remove the hair, and the hair should not like regrow like stronger or anything. Like it should be the same. So this can be maybe an option to consider then, because again, like when it comes to pulling the hair root out, like I would say, you know, people always say like exfoliate or whatever, like it didn't help. Didn't do anything for me. So I cannot, you know, wholeheartedly recommend doing this, because like I don't know if it's gonna help. So
and is dermaplaning something that you do at home, or is it something that you go to like a salon for?
one more time.
Is dermaplaning something that you do at home, or is it something that you go to a salon for?
You do this at home.
Okay.
You do this at home. You can buy you buy like a set of little, it's kind of like a razor on a stick.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd never done it, but people who've done it told me that it's basically kind of like going over a credit card over your face. Like this is how it feels. So it's not like, you know, actual razor. It's really like gentler. So you would just like kind of do like this.
Okay.
And this way people will kind of like remove all the peach fuzz and like all these tiny hairs. So yeah, like of course, I think you can then remove any kind of hair you have, and it's gonna also exfoliate. So yeah, it's like it should be nice again if you don't have, you know, like acne spots too, because obviously you're gonna irritate them if you go over it.
And kind of my approach to that would be getting to the cause of the hirsutism and stopping that from occurring, so you don't need to continue that, because it's not normal. It is normal to get the one kind of chin hair every now and again. Everyone deals with that, but if it's a daily occurrence, then there are things that you can do to slow the growth of that. And someone else asked, can I take a DHT blocker for hirsutism with PCOS, or can not everyone take these? My answer to that would be you can take the DHT blockers for hirsutism with PCOS. It's pretty much all of the time caused by the DHT from my experience. If you're dealing with the hirsutism, definitely I think you can try things. I'm not sure if she's meaning like the medication DHT blockers, but some of the natural ones like green tea, nettle, saw palmetto, you can definitely try them. It's not going to be any harm, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, another question is it better to drink matcha tea? Is it okay to drink matcha tea for oily and acne prone skin?
I would say yes, because I mean matcha and green tea have this amazing substance, EGCG, which can reduce oiliness and reduce acne. Again, it really depends. Maybe if the person has PCOS or maybe some adrenal issues, if the person may be sensitive to caffeine, because they naturally contain caffeine, not as much as coffee. But I would say for the most part, people can really benefit from like good quality matcha and green tea. And like this can be helpful for acne and for oiliness. Yes,
I agree. Do you want to kind of carry on? Are you needing to leave now, or do you want to carry on answer it like 10 more minutes or so?
We can take it 10 more minutes, exactly. Yes.
Okay, cool. Another one, what to do about acne when you're already on the birth control pill?
Does it like just means the skincare, or?
Yeah, I think so. So from kind of my approach with the nutrition side of things, or like treating it from the internal outwardly, if that makes sense, would be to make sure that you're eating a nutrient dense diet. because when you come off the pill, you're already likely nutrient depleted, so you can kind of prevent the worsening acne from occurring after the pill if you've got some of the nutrients like zinc on board, vitamin C. So maybe increasing those in your diet, maybe considering a multivitamin or some supplementation just to kind of control things. But if you're still dealing with acne when you're on the pill, I'd check to see if you're on a pill that's quite androgenic. So a few of them are more androgenic in nature, whereas some others like Dianet and Yasmin are anti-androgenic. So it may be that you're on one that has a higher androgen index. So it's just worth looking into that. I can't remember I think it's ones like Celeste. They're probably the worst ones that can cause a lot of acne and androgenic symptoms, whereas Yasmin is the opposite, it kind of blocks androgens. So that would kind of be my answer to things. But would skincare really change if you're on the pill, or would it just be the same?
Not really. So a lot of the times a skin will get less oily. So in that way, you could adjust your skincare to accommodate for this. So you would not use products that are for oily skin that are drying in any way, but like you would maybe focus on moisturizing your skin more using gentler products. But all of the principles still apply, like nothing really changes. Only if your skin is less oily than it was before the pill, and probably less than it's going to be after you quit the pill, then you would obviously treat your skin as such. You would accommodate for this with your skincare. So more gentle products, more moisturizing, instead of, trying to regulate the skin, like sebum production, or always using oil-free products. So you could, do something more moisturizing instead. But other than that, like as I said, like skincare principles are definitely the same.
And someone's asking best recommendation for eye cream. Are eye creams actually necessary, or can you just use what you're using on the rest of your face?
I personally use exactly what I use on the rest of the face. So I don't like go into my eye like this with the products. Obviously you don't need to do that, but like if you go around the eye, this is totally enough. And for me, I don't really feel the need that I need an eye cream, because all the products that I'm using are also really beneficial for the area around the eye. In the past, people say, oh, we should not use like retinol around the eyes. Now we know it's not true. Like you can definitely use a good quality like retinol around the eyes. It's going to help with the wrinkles as well. So this is exactly the same product you use on the rest of the face. And this is what I'm doing. So I actually owned a natural eye cream in the past. I still use it once a month or something when I remember, but no, like, you don't need to. So I cannot really recommend the best eye cream. I've heard good things about 100% pure eye cream, but I haven't used it myself. And if you have a good routine in place that benefits the rest of your face, you can definitely apply this gently on your kind of around the eye area.
And what about things like eye masks? Like the cooling eye masks or cucumbers? Do they have any science behind them, or is it just the cooling aspect that's the benefit?
So the cucumbers are very rich in silica, which actually can help depuff and just kind of freshen up this area. So the fresh cucumber slices can actually be helpful when it comes to the mask, to these masks. I mean, there's different kinds, and to me, I'm gonna be a bit. I don't like this kind of one-use product that you just discard, because to me it's something that maybe provides an effect that's going to last half an hour or something. You discard this in the trash. Like I don't really feel this is something that everybody would need in their skincare. Like I never use these things myself, and my skin is totally fine. I prefer having just a regular mask, maybe in environmental friendly packaging as much as possible. Like I don't really feel that the mask, especially like these sheet masks that come in these packages, and I just feel it's like so much trash for a that is gonna be there for literally half an hour. um so like,
I agree.
yeah, if you have a good routine, like I don't feel there is need for these kinds of things. And like I know these things are very popular and it's like very easy to sell from all these like influencers and stuff, like, but I don't think it's necessary, to be completely honest. So I actually I had a question, and like so many people ask me this about the skincare on airplanes, and like, can you, Sarah, please talk
Oh, yeah.
about this? Because now it's gonna be the spring break and everything, and I'm just like, no skincare routine on airplanes.
I know. You see so many like bloggers wearing the eye masks and the
Yes.
clay mask on the thing. They've got a bag full of products. I'm just like, do I really need to do this?
No, definitely not.
No.
And actually answered this question a few times on my weekly Q&A, but I understand that people kind of get, oh, do I need to do this? Because you see people doing this, it's
Yeah.
become popular. But in reality, when you cleanse your skin, like with the cleansing wipes or micellar waters, whatever it is on the plane, you just dehydrate your skin much quicker, because the air in this cabin is gonna be drier than hell, right?
Yeah.
This is super dry air. So when we cleanse the skin, you remove the protective oils, you temporarily disrupt the skin barrier. Your water from within your skin is gonna just escape like this bird from this So I definitely don't recommend doing anything on the flight. I recommend doing a good skincare before the flight. So applying a rich moisturizer if you need to. So lots of hyaluronic acid to hold the water, and then a good moisturizer, like with a good occlusive or just occlusive like shea butter, so that your skin is really protected, and then don't touch it. If the flight is like 20 hours or whatever, I would not even touch it then. Like if you feel your skin is gonna survive like not cleansing for like so many, like it's gonna be fine. You may still break out, but I think it's gonna be actually worse if you try to cleanse it and then apply, because you cannot really wash your hands properly. I mean, this is like so unsanitary. So like I would not touch your face at all. So basically, if you really need to apply moisturizer, like if your skin really gets like super dry, get a moisturizer with lots of humectants like hyaluronic acid, so that you can kind of give the moisture that is lacking. Because if you just apply occlusives, you're not really gonna help your skin much, because there is no water, like the water is gone. Of course it's gonna come from within your skin, but like it's not gonna provide as much relief from within that short period of time you're on the plane. So you would need to definitely apply some moisture source and then a good occlusive, or preferably if they are in one product, then that's maybe even better. So yeah, when you're off the plane, do your routine then, but otherwise no skincare routines on the plane.
What about just a little spritz of rose water, or just like a hydrating like facial mist or something like that? Or would you just not even bother with that?
I would not even bother with that, because some of these spritz and toners actually contain humectants inside them. And the problem is that when you have humectants sitting on your skin, they attract water to themselves, and they don't care where it's coming from. So when there is no air drag the water molecules from, they're gonna drag it from the deeper layers of your skin. This water is gonna evaporate again.
Right. Okay.
Basically, you're dehydrating your skin if you just apply.
When you're trying to hydrate it, you're dehydrating it.
Okay. Yes. So this is what's gonna happen. So I usually, sometimes these toners will contain like a blend of these humectants with some oils to kind of lock this moisture in. Obviously this is a bit better, but I would honestly not bother. I mean, I'm not sure I would bother. Like if you find it helps you, again, we are also different. So if you find it helps you, of course, you can do it, but I would not apply just like something very watery that has humectants on its own. Like, I would not do this.
And obviously it's different if you are just on a one-off and you feel like your skin's maybe needs a bit of a refreshment, so you'll just spray something on your face just to wake yourself up a little bit, compared to someone who's flying every single week and doing all these crazy skincare routines on the plane. They're completely different, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times people will not travel for so many hours that you actually need to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I totally think about it. Yeah.
Someone else asked about dry lips, but we've covered that. She's trying to quit using chapstick and Vaseline. We've discussed like the addiction to that. Someone asked, what body lotion would you recommend other than coconut oil? So you said that coconut oil could work. It's not as pore clogging on the rest of your body, but maybe like shea butter. Would you say that that's another?
Yes, I love almond oil.
Right. Okay.
Like oils that are usually comedogenic for the face, that are more moisturizing,
Yeah.
can be awesome for the body. So I personally use sweet almond oil. Again, sometimes I will just apply shea butter if I have some dry patches, or even coconut oil. So a blend of these oils can be really nice. Yeah, you can have those. And if you want coconut oil that is liquid at room temperature, you can buy fractionated coconut oil instead, or MCT oil, as we discussed. So these are all really natural ingredients. And to be honest, it's a long time ago I bought a body lotion. I cannot even remember.
Yeah, same.
It was probably like 15 years ago.
It's just not needed, is it? When your
No.
body is just hydrated, it's
No.
from internally. You don't even need it.
No, and I don't use soap on my body. This is another question that I get often. I don't use soap on my body, just on the underarms, obviously, because it's wet. But on the rest of it, I don't use anything. And this is something that moisturizes my skin more than anything else, really. So when my skin is damp after the shower, I will either do nothing, or apply my oils to lock in that moisture in the skin. And this is all you need, because again, we always need some kind of water and oil. So you can definitely provide this with very simple natural skincare. And I mean, skin on our body, there's a lot of square centimeters of it. So if you're using something that has a toxic ingredients in it, like, there's so much surface for it to and product to penetrate into your body. So it's much worse than just applying it like on the small area of your face. So yeah, I would definitely use something as natural as possible, because the skin on the body is not so finicky.
And just like 3 more questions. I'll just answer one really quickly. It's, how do we know if acne is due to estrogen, testosterone, or DHT? My answer would be through testing. It's probably the best way to go about it. Whether that's through blood testing or a hormone test like the Dutch test, that'll give you all of those readings, and then you can find out what the cause is, which one's the contributing factor. But just a couple more questions for you. Do you recommend facials?
Generally, recommend facials. I mean, again, it depends. Sometimes getting a chemical peel when it's at the right time and the skin can take it, and it when it's done properly, it can be nice. Now the hydrofacial has become popular, and it's a gentler way of doing a facial, and it's like super hydrating, but still has this chemical exfoliating component, which some people will simply find too irritating. Actually, Jessica, when I last spoke to her, she said that she had this exactly the same experience, because hydrofacial sounds so gentle, but then there is a chemical exfoliating stuff. So if your skin cannot tolerate them, like, it's gonna be very harsh. So I did several types of facials in the past, and I can honestly say none of them did me any good. But again, I work with people who have done like regular chemical peels that really help to keep their skin clear, and these are skin types that really require a lot of exfoliation to keep the pores clear. So in that case, yes, these types of facials could be helpful, but whether it's worth investing in it, I would always prioritize your skincare routine that you're doing every day, because it's going to have far bigger impact on your skincare than getting a facial once a month or once every 2 months. So, and they're a bit costly, right? So it's not something that is necessary. If you want to treat yourself, hydrofacial will probably be a nice choice.
Yeah. And I see that all the time too. People are paying for the nails done, the hair done, the eyelashes, extensions, and all of that. And then when you ask about the budget for supplements or organic food, they're like, I can't afford that. It's too expensive. But you have to kind of prioritize. Your skin's going to benefit more from organic diet and healthy food, high quality food, rather than a weekly or monthly facial. Definitely.
I completely agree with you. It's so, it's so true.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on daily use of sunscreen, even in maybe colder climates like we are in Europe, or places where it's not kind of sunny like California or America? And what are your favorite brands? I know that you have some recommendations on your website. Are there a few that are your favorite at the moment?
So my favorite at the moment is the one by Odilique and Madara. These are really, really nice. The one by Odilique is shea butter based, so it's like it feels like pure shea butter. It's so nice. It's really like all natural, and it gives such a beautiful glow because it's very, very nourishing. And the Madara one is like has this really nice tint, and it's lighter, so it's a really nice one as well. I use them both interchangeably. So when it comes to the sunscreen, I think it's important to realize what the UVA and UVB rays are doing. So UVB rays are, we can say like burning rays, because they will cause the burn. They trigger the melanin production, that triggers the tanning of the skin. And then UVA rays are the aging, basically. So they're gonna really impact our collagen in the skin, elastin, all these kinds of components in our skin, that when they degrade faster, our skin is gonna age faster. So these are kind of aging rays. And the thing, or the reason why you always hear, wear sunscreen daily, no matter where you live, no matter if you're inside, there is no sun, is due to the UVA rays, because they penetrate through everything basically, and they are of almost the same strength year round. So when there is no sun, when there is, you're inside, they go through the glass, whereas UVB don't, I believe. So they will basically, they're pretty constant throughout the entire year. So your skin is not gonna burn, because you're not gonna be getting so much UVB rays that gonna burn the skin. So you're not gonna ever burn, by sitting in your office when there's cloudy outside, but the UV rays will still fall on your skin. So in that case, I mean, this is the reason why we always hear like, use sunscreen every day, no matter where you are. But the problem with this is that a lot of the sunscreens don't really effectively protect against the UVA, only UVB. So there are substances that are broad spectrum, which are sunscreens that are broad spectrum, which means that they should protect both from UVB and UVA. And the SPF factor only indicates how effective sunscreen is against the UVB.
Yeah.
So you can really age your skin by sun exposure without ever burning. So if the sunscreen is just blocking the UVB, you're never going to burn, but your skin is really going to age faster. So zinc oxide is one of very few ingredients that really effectively blocks both UVB and UVA, and it's natural. There are a few chemical ones that are allowed in Europe. I think there are 7 substances, where there's just 1 or 2 in the US, which are actually not so good at blocking of the UVA as zinc oxide. So zinc oxide is really good choice. So for me, I wear sunscreen daily for these reasons. And when it comes to vitamin D production, because this is also very important, so I would always try to expose other areas of my skin whenever there is sun, so that I also have the benefits and like trigger vitamin D production from this. Also, the active substances become inactive after a few hours. So I would often not reapply my sunscreen, so at least, you know, it's been active for a few
Mm-hmm.
3 hours, and
Yeah.
then my skin is then kind of open to vitamin D production if I'm getting some sun also on my face.
Yeah.
I burn pretty easily on my face, so I try to protect it as much as I can, whereas, you know, exposing other areas of my body whenever I can to get some vitamin D. So I will do this even, you know, in the winter time when it's like
Mm-hmm.
really cold, at least, you know, my arms or something. So so yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're concerned with anti-aging, wear sunscreen
Mm.
daily, but the sunscreen you pick is immensely important. So
Yeah.
obviously not any sunscreen will do the job well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them are so toxic, aren't they? That's
Yes,
probably sunscreen and deodorants are probably
yes, yes.
the
Um,
worst things,
mm.
and they should be the things that you switch out first.
Yes, so a lot of the chemical based sunscreens I would not use. Like
Yeah.
I would really avoid, not just because they're toxic, but they are not even as effective as the zinc oxide natural based ones.
Mm.
So, and that will also often contain retinol palmitate, which has been shown to
Yeah.
be carcinogenic when exposed to
Mm-hmm.
sunlight. And yeah, so like I don't ever use chemical sunscreens.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of dermatologists would differ with me right now, but I just prefer to stick to what I know works and is not toxic, which is natural zinc oxide based sunscreen. The percentage can be, you know, 20% is pretty high. Like if it's a bit lower than that, it's totally fine as well. So yeah, like these toxic sunscreens, I mean, there are so many bad ones, and when I see actually the ingredient list on some of the for the children, the sunscreens for made for children, is like, oh my god,
Yeah. It's scary.
it's just
Yeah.
scary. Because I mean, I know about this, but like regular person who doesn't care so much about skincare and the ingredients in skincare will, you know, slather this sunscreen for months every year on their kids, and it's just
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, it's upsetting. But
Pull like over and over again, like every hour.
exactly,
They're trying to be like a good parent in the
yeah,
fact that they're protecting them from the sun, but in some ways it's actually doing them more harm, which
yeah.
is sad but true.
It is sad but true. It is sad but true. Yeah, it's oh.
And if people are looking for sun cream recommendations, then they can enter the kind of brand into EWG website, and
Mm,
that gives you the toxicity rating to show you some of the harmful chemicals in there. Or again, just head over to Sara's website and she has some recommendations, because I definitely need to get into the habit of using sunscreen. I only tend to use it when I'm on holiday or in summer. I think that my mineral foundation does have some protection in there, but
mm.
I definitely need to start to be on point with that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we eat right, our skin is also naturally more protected.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
eat unhealthy fats, your skin is going to be definitely more prone to this damage by
mhm,
UVA. Whereas when we eat lots of healthy fats, you know, omega-3s, they actually offer photo protection from the inside. So it also
mhm.
plays a really big role, our diet, when it comes to how protected our skin is naturally from the light.
Absolutely. And antioxidants as well. If we're not eating a lot of different colours, different
Yes.
plants, and different vegetables, then that's going to really impact our skin.
Mm.
And there are actually some people who, I'm not saying for people to do this, but just eat a lot of lycopene from tomatoes for like weeks leading up to the holidays, and they swear that that's the reason why they don't burn and the skin
I
stays
believe.
protected. Yeah.
I can believe this. Also, if somebody has really sensitive skin that is like maybe on the oily side, and they find the sunscreen breaks them out,
Mm,
try powder sunscreens. I know
right.
there's like concern with maybe inhalation of
Mm,
powder.
yeah.
There's the same with like mineral foundation, so just be careful when applying. But Earthwise Beauty, which is an awesome non-toxic brand, has a
Okay.
really nice SPF powder. I think Color Science also has, so this is actually really easy to reapply, like when you're really in intense sun, and you do need to reapply your sunscreen, otherwise you're gonna burn. Like in, you know, summertime, or like especially in the places, I remember when I was in Brazil, like it was, the sun is so strong, like it's really, you can feel it. And yeah, so this is like very easy to reapply also over makeup or whatever else you have on your face. So, and it works. It's I think also 20% zinc oxide, so this is going to be really effective protection.
Yeah, I'll definitely have a look into that one. I think that, yeah, I've definitely noticed my skin doesn't work well with different sunscreens, so I tend to just I tend to not use them in some cases, which I know isn't great, but
Yeah,
it's definitely this year I'm focusing a lot more on my skin health, and not just for the look and the texture of it now, but I'm definitely looking into like later years of my 30s and 40s, trying to protect it and make it as useful as possible.